Welcome to Skyblock. Not that kind of Skyblock, like this, with a bigger island, sprinkle in tons of confusing stuff, and there you have it, perfect. But where's the manual? How do I play? Why do I have to talk to 12 villagers? What do I do? This is most people's first introduction to Hypixel Skyblock. It's slightly overwhelming and very confusing. But what if I told you it doesn't have to be like this? We've all been new at some point, just looking for a helping hand, a guide, a tutorial, someone or something to teach us how to play. So let me be that high five as you sink into the abyss that is Skyblock. I'm a very professional Skyblock player. No, I'm really not, but my point is that I made all, or well, maybe most of the mistakes you could probably make when you start out in the game. So there's no better guy to teach you what not to do. I've cut the video up into chapters so it's easy for you to find your way. If you ever get lost, the timestamps are over in the description. Alright, so let's get this started with you stepping foot in the hub. You've built your way over, you've talked to Jerry, and you've seen this little guy, and then you walked through the portal. You'll see this quest pop up. It's called Introduce Yourself. And basically, you have to walk around and talk to 12 different villagers. And they're scattered all over the hub. You can talk to all of them, of course, but especially you want to talk to Jamie and Tom. Because Jamie gives you the rogue sword, a great utility item, and Tom, he gives you the recipe for a promising axe. The other villagers, they don't really give you anything, but they explain different mechanics and they can be found at these coordinates. It's your choice if you want to do the quests or not, but some quests can give you some pretty cool rewards. Now that you've gotten the hand on the rogue sword, your first real objective will be unlocking the Bazaar. Why? Well, it's simple really. The Bazaar is a marketplace for items that don't really fit on the auction house. An example of stuff that you can find on the Bazaar is enchanted items, consumables, some of them at least. It's a great way of making coins, but it requires Skyblock level 7 to access. So how do we get Skyblock levels? Well, there's a lot of different ways, but the main ones that give you a lot are leveling your skills and collections. Each skill boosts a different attribute and these are the different ones. When you level collections, you unlock recipes for cooler stuff. It can be better bag upgrades, it can be minion stuff, it can be a lot of things. It's more than I can explain, so it's better that you just go over to the collections tab over here and check it out. Leveling is very easy to do in the start, but some ways are better than others. So you will want to look over towards the farm. This is one of the best starter areas in the game. You can easily level up your farming skill and the wheat and seed collection over there. You can either farm with your hands or you can buy yourself a rookie hoe from the farm merchant. As you level your wheat collection, you'll want to make sure to craft any farm armor and the farm talisman that you unlock eventually. Once you've leveled your farming up to the double digits, it's time for a change of scenery. But first you'll want to head over to this NPC called Jacob at these coordinates and you want to talk to him. It will unlock something for later. What you want to do after this is you want to go to this part of the village and you want to talk to the weaponsmith and the mine merchant, buy 2 gold ingots from the mine merchant, and buy an undead sword from the weaponsmith. With these gold ingots in hand, you want to craft a golden shovel. You then want to go over to the library and buy 1 or 2 stacks of experience bottles, use them on you to enchant the shovel with efficiency, 2 should be enough, and the sword with smite, sharpness, whatever you feel like is the best. I would have recommended buying enough gold for an axe as well, but it's much easier for you to just go to the auction house and buy yourself a jungle axe. Trust me, these are great and they're really cheap, and they make foraging, which I'll go over more in depth later, much easier to do. We head back to the farm, we go on these slime blocks and they yeet us over to the barn. And now it's time to do even more farming. There are several more collections to be started here. There's potatoes, carrots, melons and pumpkins, along with most of the animals in the game. You can generally one-tap them, and it's pretty good to just get started on the collections for now. Then if you go up here in the barn area, you can see another place. It's a desert. And this is where we'll be going next. But what will we be doing on the island? I mean, there's cocoa beans, there's sugar cane, surely we'll be doing some wrong. You see all this sand, it's so coarse and rough and it gets everywhere. But it's useful for one thing only, mining XP. Yeah, with your enchanted golden shovel, you can use insta-mine the sand, and it's OP for early game mining. If I were you, I'd spend some time here just running around, getting to double digits mining level, at least 12, and then finishing most of the sand collection. Make sure to craft the sand into enchanted sand and keeping it in your ender chest until later. Don't sell it yet. And then I'd recommend starting out on the sugarcane, cocoa beans, and the sheep and rabbit collections. And maybe even the mushrooms over in the mushroom cave if you have time. While you're farming some of these crops, something curious might show up, saying farming contest, tracking your crops. You see, this unlocks at farming 10, and it's a great way to make money in most stages of the game. Every 3 days in Skyblock a farming contest is hosted. 3 crops are picked out for each contest, basically they grant rewards. You can see which crops it is by going into the calendar over here in the Skyblock menu, but what you want to do is you want to make sure that the contest you're doing is a wheat contest. Then you go back to the hub. You go over to this globe guy if you have a VIP rank or higher, literal pay to win guys, and then you right click this thing until you get to an empty lobby. Otherwise just go over to the wheat area and start farming for your life. Either way, when most of the wheat is harvested, you just go back to the globe guy and go to another lobby. After 20 minutes of this you will hopefully have at least the bronze or maybe even the silver ranking if you're lucky. These basically show which top percentage of players you were in, and they are split up like this. If you get bronze ranking, you will get a bronze medal along with a Turbo 1 book of the crop you farmed and 10 Jacob's tickets. And if you get silver, it will be 15 tickets, still a Turbo 1 book, but a silver medal. The medals can be converted into higher tiers by Anita upstairs in Jacob's house. I will go in more depth about this and the garden later in the farming section of the video. Here's a timestamp for that. But the tickets, if you don't plan on farming, they're great for selling, and they go for quite a lot, so it's worth it just doing the casual farming contests every now and then and getting yourself some tickets and selling them. Another easy way to make money and an amazing way to progress in the game is with minions. Basically what they do is they play the game for you. Whenever you are doing other stuff on other islands, whenever you are offline, these guys will keep slaving away on your island for you. So they're a great way to progress new collections or just do the boring part of the work for you. You start out with one of them on your island, just a cobblestone minion, but you can easily upgrade him if you get a golden pickaxe with efficiency 5 and you insta-mine all the stone in the hub or the gold mine. Also, you also start with 5 minion slots, so that's 4 more you can do instantly, and you can increase these by leveling up the tiers of your minions or crafting more kinds of minions. You can see the collection over here in the Skyblock menu, but higher tiers on minions generally mean a bigger inventory of the minion and faster production. You can also plop down storage chests next to them, and you craft these from the Oakwood collection, but you can also buy them from the Bazaar, and you can also put different kinds of fuels to make the minion work faster, and upgrades for the minions like compactors, which compacts the items into block form, which makes the minion inventory last longer. There's a lot of stuff to discover when it comes to minions, so I'd recommend doing it in your own time. If you have questions, as always, you can just leave it down in the comment and I'll try to help out. So yeah, we've done some mining, but we haven't actually gone to the mining island yet. It's time to fix this. You want to go towards the coal mine. You can stop here, you can get some coal if you want. It will be useful for crafting mining sacks later, but it's not that important. You can always plop down a minion and have it do it for you. Well, if not, keep going until you end up in the gold mine. You can do the quest here. You can also collect some iron and gold, although there are other places for this. And don't use a pickaxe that doesn't have smelting touch, okay? And then you just go over to the deep caverns and make sure to talk to the lift operator on each level, even the top one. This is so you can later go between the levels, otherwise you'll have to run up and down like a Looney Tunes character. First level is the Lapis level. You can kill some of the Lapis zombies for a chance at their gear, or you can just buy a set of it from the auction house. It's quite cheap. The Glazite armor set is also pretty good, but it all depends on your budget. The level below Lapis is Redstone. Redstone is a great collection for you to unlock a bigger accessory bag, personal compactors and so on. Below the Redstone level is the Emerald one, and they have emerald slimes, and basically you get slime balls from them, that's about it. And the one after that is diamond level. Yeah, there's skeletons, there's zombies, they drop some diamond armor, miner's armor, shit. I'll be talking about the next level, the obsidian one, later on in the video by the mining section, because you want to unlock the bazaar before you start doing stuff there. Next up, you'll want to do a bit of tree cutting. Start on the path towards the castle over here, and then you'll see Lumberjack. Yeah, that's his actual name. And this is the first time your jungle axe will come in handy. Instead of slowly breaking one block at a time, this one swoops up several in one go. It does have a small cooldown, but it's so worth it for these early levels. You can stay here and level up your oak collection for a bit, which will be useful for when you get into minions later, or you can go over to the park. It has all the other kinds of logs. Basically, you want to get to around Foraging 10, and by then you will have unlocked the bazaar. Great! That's the first step done. Yeah, look at that in time, baby. We're doing this in record time. And basically, unlocking the bazaar is a metaphor for unlocking the secret to life itself. It's like becoming an adult and finally being allowed to go into casinos. Why am I doing that reference? Well, because the main thing you do on the bazaar is gamble. Fortunes are made and lost in the blink of an eye in the bazaar. Mostly lost, but I'll teach you some of the most basic flips you can do here to make some early game money. So you, as the new kid on the block, with your around 50k purse, only really have 3 options. And those are craft flipping, NPC flipping, and reverse NPC flipping. Craft flipping means you craft something and then sell it on the bazaar for a profit. NPC flipping means you buy something from the bazaar and then you sell it to an NPC for a profit, using other bazaar goers' laziness against them. Reverse NPC flipping is, as you could have guessed, the opposite. You buy stuff from the NPCs and then you sell it on the bazaar. These freeing methods vary in effectiveness, sure. Both the ones that utilize the NPCs are limited. There are sell limits for items and there are buy limits, which means you can do them both for a bit, but you can't do them forever. You will be locked out eventually and then you'll have to wait for the next day. Craft flipping on the other hand is good and it requires very little other than the coins. Maybe a personal compactor too to make it a bit easy for you, but I'm getting ahead of myself. What is the bazaar? How does it work? What do all these funny buttons mean? Basically, the bazaar is a marketplace, like the auction house, but where the auction house deals with unique items, the bazaar doesn't. Yeah, I explained this earlier. It's basically the bulk of the things if you didn't listen to that. So let's give you an example. You want to buy some wheat. Well, you start by talking to the bazaar guy, then you click on the farming category, the wheat icon, and boom, a whole lot of options connected to wheat show up. You click the item you want, and then even more buttons. Buy instantly, sell instantly, and then the options to create buy or sell orders. The appeal of creating buy or sell orders is that you will usually get a few more coins when the item gets sold, and the appeal of insta buying or selling is that you get the results immediately. You catch the drift, right? Great! So basically there are sites for figuring out some good deals. You search up Bazaar Tracker and have it on another monitor, but you should know that when you use this sites that a lot of people also do, the top opportunities on the site might not be the safest or best way to actually make profit. Also, before I forget, make sure to keep most of your money in the bank over here, because if you die, you will lose most of your coins. Don't take any chances, especially this early. Later on you can get like a piggy bank or a booster cookie and that kind of removes the danger from it, but if you don't have those, don't have all your coins in your purse. You also get interest every day on the coins you have in the bank, so it's pretty decent to have it there. Now this is where the guide branches out a bit. Depending on which skill you want to continue with, you can just skip ahead to whichever chapter you want to watch, otherwise we are going to start out with mining. First of all, what you want to do is you want to go to the bazaar and you want to sell all of the enchanted items you've kept until now. After you've done this, you want to buy 10 enchanted redstone, 10 enchanted lapis, and 10 of which other ore is the cheapest. In my case it was gold, but it might differ for you. On the obsidian level there's this guy called Reese, and this is where the 30 enchanted ores you bought come into play. You give them to him and he will give you the Heart of the Mountain, which is basically the mining progression tool for most of the game, and he gives you the access to the Dwarven mines. Once you go to the Dwarven mines, you want to go to these coordinates and buy a fractured mithril pickaxe, and then get to mining and exploring. There are commissions for you to do, basically repeatable quests that give you Heart of the Mountain XP and mining XP. There's also a forge to make cool items as you progress, and there are events. You need the mithril pickaxe to mine mithril. It's a good collection to progress in as well, because you get the Dwarven Super Compactor in one of the later tiers, which is useful for putting in your mining minions, since it's both a Super Compactor and an Auto Smelter. You'll also want to pick up some pets by this point, which you can find by the pets chapter a bit later. Either way, these are just the basics for mining, and if you want more help, you can /visit me or leave a comment down below, and I'll do my best to answer. Now it's time for you to get into the real combat, huh? Let's do it! First, you want to pick up a Silver Fang if they are decently cheap on the auction house. If they aren't, just /visit me and I'll sell one to you for a good price, since they shouldn't really be expensive at all. I mean, if you've got into the Dwarven mines, you can always use the mithril pickaxe, but that's a special secret. So yeah, make sure to enchant the sword with smite or whatever you need. You'll mainly be killing zombies, so smite is the best to have for now. And then you can reforge it over by the blacksmith. Do his quest, you need to get some coal and then you give it to him. Reforges, they're basically modifiers that grant the weapon some small extra stats. There are some basic ones that all items can get, and there's also reforged stones that drop from specific places. Armor isn't terribly important, you can buy from this NPC in the village, or you can just use the lapis or glaciite armor if you've done some mining beforehand and bought those. The mobs in the Obsidian Sanctuary easily give the most XP in early combat levels. Although, if you're down in the Dwarven mines, you can use the fractured mithril pickaxe and go over to this place, like the Great Ice Wall, because these zombies, you can basically one-tap them with a pickaxe. You just don't get hit. The redstone pigmen in the deep caverns are also a viable option to kill for XP. If you're having trouble one-shotting the mobs, make sure to get the first strike enchantment on your weapon, since it doubles the damage for your first hit. Another easy way to get combat XP and health is by progressing through the Bestiary. You do this by killing basically every single mob you can find. There are different tiers for every mob, and the higher you get, the more magic find, which means higher chance to get good drops, along with strength against a specific mob. All the farm animals count towards the bestiary too, so make sure to kill them. You'll want to pick up the Grandma Wolf Pet and the Spider's Den at these coordinates. It upgrades in rarity depending on how far you progressed in the bestiary, and it basically gives you buffs depending on how high a kill count you can reach. From extra magic find to bonus coins per kill to combat wisdom. It's pretty decent, and the best part is you don't have to have the pet summoned to utilize its effects. Once you get to combat 12, you'll be allowed on the end isle. If you're unprepared, they might hit pretty hard and murder you. An easy way to kill them is just with a decently enchanted void sword, which you can buy from the lone adventurer. The rest of the gear is dropped by the endermen around the island, and for some of the parts you have to mine these ender nodes, which you need a pickaxe for. And these have a chance to drop pretty decent items as well, which you can sell later on in the bazaar. If you find yourself struggling with the endermen, don't worry. It might be because of your lack of accessories. Accessories in simple terms make you more OP and they give you small buffs. So a lot of them will give you tons of power. I'll go more in depth about accessories later on in the video, but they're super useful. Here you have a timestamp for it. Another combat thing you'll want to check out is the Slayers. Basically killing boss monsters. Unlocking new tier items that you can craft specifically made to make that specific boss easier, along with other utility items that help you in the game. You can start your Slayer quests by visiting Maddox under the tavern at these coordinates. I'm actually doing a Slayer guide for each and every Slayer in the game, but currently I've only released the zombie one. The link's over in the description, go watch it after this video, because you'll want to watch the rest of this. Well, once you reach Skyblock level 5 and return to your island, you might notice that this certain NPC has showed up. What a weird Jerry. No, her name is Sam, and if you talk to her and agree to help, she'll send you to the garden. The garden is basically where all of the farming happens. You'll do some simple garden tutorial quests, it's pretty straightforward. She'll teach you about composting crops into compost, and then using this to buy plots. She'll teach you about clearing plots, pasting a preset, and then also later on teaching you how to help visitors. There are great videos out there on how to build the best and most compact farm layouts, which you might want to check out, but even the most simple of garden designs will work, at least in the start. And this is where you ideally want to do some farming contests as well. You won't be able to do all crops from the start, but the more you level your garden, the more garden XP you get, the more crops you unlock. Yeah, just do some farming contests, get some tickets, sell said tickets, and you'll be able to get it in no time. If fishing's your thing, then great for you. It gives you health the more you level it up, and to start it out you want 3 out of 4 pieces of angler armor and a water hydra head. You can buy these from the auction house, then you just get a fishing rod, you can get the basic one from the fisherman or any other. You can fish basically anywhere where there's water, and it's going to be a slog to start out. But once you've got some raw fish enough for a fishing minion, you can use that to get some fishing levels, especially with a super compactor later on. The park is a decent place to fish with other people, because people do squid fishing here. Just get to know some big fish in the pond that is Hypixel Skyblock. Most of the fishermen I've talked to, they're really nice, so don't be afraid to ask them for help or guidance. The coolest thing about fishing in Hypixel Skyblock is the sea creatures. Basically, you have a chance to fish up these mobs that can be anything from a squid to a sea witch, and they can be pretty dangerous. So if you're low level, you might want to keep close to other players for help, because they can kill it for you. Sea creatures, when killed, give you pretty decent fishing XP and a chance for rare loot, depending on the creature. Enchanting is very simple. Enchant items and then you basically level the skill up just by enchanting items. Gives you more mana and ability damage, and it's great. At an enchanting level 10, you unlock the experimentation table, which is enchanting but with gambling added to it. You get to play some minigames to get more clicks, and then you play memory with a set amount of clicks, and it costs levels. You can get enchanted books, enchanting XP, XP bottles, and other cool stuff from it, and you can do it daily. And there's different tiers depending on your level. I find it quite fun. It's at least more fun than just slogging through enchanting random items. Alchemy isn't really worthwhile to do at this point of the game. Most of the ingredients are pretty expensive or tedious to get. Start out once you have more money, since alchemy is the rich man's skill. And we'll literally just brew stuff. If the items you brew with are enchanted, then it gives you more alchemy XP, and there are tables calculating exactly the most effective way to level it up. Basically, the way you progress in foraging, after the point where you've got the jungle axe, is just getting a Treecapitator. It's an improved jungle axe, basically it breaks an entire tree instead of part of it. It requires a lot of enchanted obsidian and a maxed out jungle wood collection to get. You can also get some certain pets that give you more foraging fortune or foraging XP, along with dragon armor to be even faster. And that's about it. Once the foraging update drops, it might change everything, and this part might be completely null and void. But, well, we might be in for a completely new universe when that happens in 3 to 5 business days, guys. Carpenting, well, it's a pretty self-explanatory skill. You level it by crafting items, and it's very useful. For example, at carpentry level 3, you get access to quick crafting, which allows you to craft items, you guessed it, more quickly. It also gives you coins and health by leveling it up, so there's really no reason for you not to do it. And a general rule is that the more expensive the item you're crafting is, the more crafting XP it gives you. You also unlock furniture recipes by leveling carpentry, and some of them are really useful, and me as a Swedish furniture enjoyer, I quite like it. It's pretty epic. Taming is the skill that is connected with pets. You get taming XP by having your pet with you and doing stuff like mining, farming, so on. If you use a farming pet while you mine, it will get reduced taming XP, for example. But if you use a farming pet while you farm, then whew, very epic. Taming, it's pretty simple to level, you just have the pet with you. You just have it with you when you're collecting from your minions or doing other stuff, and you'll level it up in no time. The higher your taming level is, the more pet XP you get. And with the more pet XP and levels you have, the more pet luck you get. Pet luck, well, it affects pet crafting. But unless you have max pet luck, it's straight up just more worth it to buy the pets you want. Hey, you can visit me and buy pets from me. And on the topic of pets, there are certain pets that work better for certain skills. The Ocelot pet gives you foraging wisdom, which means you get more skill XP from cutting down logs. Silverfish does the same for mining, Wolf does it for combat, and Rabbit does it for farming. I sell some of these pets and a lot more good ones at my island. So if you need help with any pets, you can use /visit me or join my Discord and ask me. I do special prices for players that have just started out, and if you want one of the lower tier pets, I might just give it to you for free. All I ask from you in return is that you go ahead and subscribe if you've enjoyed this video so far. I can promise you that you don't want to miss out on what I planned for the future. Skyblock, just like any RPG with MMO elements, has a lot of events. There's a Christmas event, there's a Halloween event, Easter event, New Year's event, there's an anniversary event, there's elections. That's right, they added this.
I'm better looking than you, I'm stronger than you, I will kick your ass.
To Hypixel Skyblock. Most of these events are really fun, plus they add some ways to make easy coins. Look at the Halloween event, you can just kill wolves by the castle and make a few million candy. The Christmas event, you can just go to hub and leech gifts from other people, or just go and throw snowballs at magma NPCs for gifts. It's just free money. They don't happen just once a year. You see, a Skyblock year is 5 days, so these events happen all of the time basically. Anytime you hop on during a week, something will be happening. Take some time to learn each event by yourself, keep track of the fun ones, and learn what works for you, and I'm sure it's gonna work out. Accessories are essential for Skyblock. They're important when you start out, and they stay important forever. And they give you magical power depending on the rarity of the accessory. And the magical power can be used for several preset powers. Depending on your playstyle, some are better, some are worse. Some are unlocked at the start, and some you need power stones for, which you can get in a variety of ways. To start, I'd recommend joining a Discord server, mine for example has it, where you can type a simple command with the Sky Helper bot. It helps you see the cheapest accessories that you can get, and basically the cheapest way for you to improve your magical power. Of course you don't have to use the bot, but it really simplifies it for you, and you can just Google where you got the accessory from instead of running around like a headless chicken. See, this is my new profile, which will be quite similar to yours, and these are the ones that are the cheapest for me to get. It's simple, and then I just Google the accessories in question, and bam wham, now I know how to get them. Next up, we have fairy souls, and these are by far the most tedious thing an early game player can do. Not because of difficulty, no, it's because you have to go around to basically every single island in the game to find these obscure souls. There are ways to find them, like going on the wiki or using mods like Not Enough Utilities. There are 247 fairy souls in total, but why do you collect the souls in the first place? Basically you do it because they give you Skyblock XP and backpack slots. XP is useful because the higher the level, the more stuff in the game you unlock, and the more health and strength you have. Backpack slots, they're pretty self-explanatory, it's just more space for you to put items. You get 10 XP per 5 fairy souls, which means you need to turn in 50 soul for each Skyblock level. And with that, it's all done. If you followed the steps in this video, you'll have a pretty solid foundation for getting into the meat of Hypixel Skyblock. Hopefully it hasn't discouraged you too much, there's a lot to learn. If it hasn't discouraged you, I'd recommend you give the game a try. It's tons of fun. Send help, send help, send help, send help. Now all that's left for you to do is pick one of the skills to level through, and once you've progressed through that, you pick another one. And then another one.
Another one. Another one. Another one.
Well, if you have further questions, feel free to ask them in the comments, if you catch me in game, or on my Discord. If not, I'll see you around for the next video. Take care, bye!